Hello and welcome, Seekers. This is Gerardo Morillo here, and today we're going to be talking about an interesting topic. The universe has been sending me a lot of messages. I've just been hearing a lot of things from the universe lately that it was time for this meaning for this card. So I'm going to pull a card from the deck, and it's the Hermit. The Hermit is a interesting card. It's quite possibly one of the most boring cards in the tarot deck. That's because no one wants to just stay home and do nothing. The Hermit represents contemplation, looking for the answers within yourself. It means stop doing what everyone else is doing, stop paying attention to the physical world, stop paying attention to the materialism, and instead form a better relationship with yourself. Most of the time, they also say, have a conversation with God. And that's what the Hermit is. By you retreating in within yourself, you withdrawing from the world, you can form a better relationship with yourself and you can find answers. Answers within yourself. Which sometimes you need to do. Sometimes you can't really be always out there in the world and getting these experiences. Collecting painful experiences after painful experiences and painful experiences is not a healthy thing. Now, I know a lot of us tend to say that we like to how do I say this? Challenge our comfort zones, grow, expand and whatnot. But the Hermit is a lesson on stopping all of that. It's time to seek the answers within yourself. It's time to seek the answers in a way that just is away from the physical world. The physical world we live in is very stressful, it's very demanding, and you always having to put up a performance of some kind. So the Hermit is trying to say that now you need to stop doing all those things and you need to contemplate on the answers. You need to have a little me time. What I also like about the card Hermit is that it also represents meditation, where all the answers that you see can be found just within yourself by going to a closet or going to a cave and just simply meditating. The card itself is depicted as an old man with a staff, and this is just to demonstrate wisdom. Going within is gaining wisdom. So yes, there is a time where you must challenge your comfort zone. Yes, there is a time where you must grow up and mature, and then yes, there is a time where you need to essentially challenge your comfort zones while in that pain state, because while you challenge that comfort zone in that pain state, you can evolve and outgrow it. However, the physical world can be very confusing. They can tell you a lot of things that are incorrectly. They can spread a lot of misconceptions about reality to you. So instead of being an asset to you, they can just be a liability by confusing you. So the Hermit is a lesson that the answer sometimes is just within yourself. Sometimes the answer is you need to spend time with your own self. Read a good book. Go to your closet and just think. Have a conversation with God. That's what the Hermit is trying to say. Just contemplate on the answers. Contemplate on the issues that you're facing. But more importantly, seek the higher wisdom. The physical world can be very, very extremely distracting. And can be a liability to your spiritual growth and your spiritual success. If you're always in the physical world, they will dictate and determine your life for you, because you always have to respond to the stimuli. You're always going to have to people please and adapt to what the world wants to give you. That's why many people became monks. That's why many spiritual people, they dropped the physical world and the social game altogether. Now, I'm not saying that's at the end of the spectrum either. That's a healthy spectrum either. But what I'm saying is there is a time where one must just, in order for one to climb to higher knowledge and higher wisdom, that you need to drop the physical world. Or maybe not for a long time. Drop the social games, drop socializing, drop all of that stuff. Because all of that stuff is not helping you progress. All of that stuff is not helping you to get higher wisdom. And that's why this card here, the Hermit, is a very, very interesting card. It teaches us that sometimes we have to do the boring path of just going our own way, being in solitary, being alone. The Hermit is not alone because he can't be with other people. He's alone out of choice. The Hermit is alone because he's seeking higher wisdom. He's seeking understandings. And by removing the limitation, by removing the physical world, by removing socializing and interaction, he can fully focus more so on seeking higher wisdom, seeking truths. Now, don't get me wrong. Once more, there is a time where you do need to interact with other people. There is a time where in fact, a lot of life lessons can be obtained by talking to people, interacting with people, going through the world and navigating through the world. You pick up a lot of life lessons, for sure. But then there's a time where it's very self-defeating for you just to keep going out there and out there and out there again. And you just really need to stop, go back home, recollect yourself, and just slow down. Think about it. Contemplate. And be like the Hermit who seeks the answer within. Because all the answers that we ever really need are within ourselves. And it's not necessarily in the physical world. And quite the contrary, a lot of spiritual teachers will tell you to challenge your comfort zone, to go beyond and challenge your pain states. Now, the issue with this is that most of them tell you that once they have already finished their journey, or once they already finished going through those pain states, so then they go back and they tell you challenge your comfort zones. But how long did it take you to really get out of your own problems, right? This is why it's actually, that's why it's kind of very funny indeed. Because most of the spiritual teachers that you meet who tell you challenge your comfort zones, who tell you to challenge your pain points, it's like how long was that process? How long was that journey? So when they go and they tell you the answers, it's a little kind of it's a little different. Something is a little different there. And that's why this Hermit card teaches us that sometimes we just need to drop everything altogether. Sometimes we need to take a break from reality. Sometimes we need to take a break from socializing. And sometimes we just need to go in a cave, go in a closet, and just spend time with our own self. Reuniting with yourself, having a relationship with yourself. This is called speaking to God. Because when you interact with yourself, when you talk to yourself, that's when you can really form a relationship with God. Now, at the same time, yes, you do play the social game. You do socialize. You do interact with other people. You do learn a lot of life lessons from going out there. But the Hermit is telling us that sometimes we need to drop all those things altogether, take a break from everything, and just relax, slow down, seek answers on our own terms, read books away from other people, because other people can be a detriment to your success when they tell you their opinions, when they tell you these things that contradict the things that you're seeking. Perhaps many seekers were very interested and enthused to share about their spiritual knowledge that they were reading, and they shared it with other people who didn't understand spiritual knowledge, and they got dissuaded for the simple fact that other people who are not spiritual, other people who are not reading those books, other people who don't get it, are giving these negative opinions to them, which dissuades them from their spirituality. I remember once, like when I was 14, I picked up this metaphysics book. It was a really big book, and I was always fascinated about deep stuff. I was always a deep thinker. I was always into like reading philosophy, psychology, anything that I could pick up that was like understanding the universe at large. And then when I picked up this book. I met my family member. And I was like, oh hey, I kind of want to talk about this thing. And like I probably said like maybe one or two sentences, and I quickly realized that it was best not to say anything. And she basically just told me, this is a little too. Basically, I don't know what she said, but basically she said this is a little too intense. This is a little too deep. Most of my conversations are about music and just having fun. And to me, that was very dissuading at that time, because it made me feel a little weird. It made me feel a little kind of uncomfortable with myself, because it's like why can I not fit in with the normal people? Why can I not fit in with these people? My interests are obviously different, but the thing is, everywhere I go, people are normal. People do normal stuff, and I'm over here studying philosophy. I picked up a metaphysical book, science, biology, health, and all these things, and I'm like, who do I interact with that's actually into these deep topics? And in fact, it really, really affected my psyche in a negative way, because people who don't know the spiritual path, people who don't seek higher knowledge, and they're giving you opinions about things that they don't really know about, they can dissuade you and discourage you from rising up to your spiritual truths, from seeking higher wisdom, from seeking higher knowledge. And that's because they themselves don't know. So the hermit is, listen, it's time to stop all that. It's time to drop the world for a little bit, forget the world, and go within. That's the hermit. It's time to contemplate. You don't need anybody's approval. You don't need anybody to tell you anything at all. The hermit is saying, do your own thing, be in solitary, at a choice. The hermit is not necessarily miserable, because he's seeking higher wisdom. He's reading all these books. He's in this cave, has a little lamp. He's contemplating about life, and he's obtaining higher wisdom. Whereas the rest of the world are moving in circles, doing the same thing, talking about the same things over and over. The hermit is like, I don't want to be a part of that cycle. I want to seek higher wisdom. I want to know about God. I want to know about enlightenment. I want to know about the truth of reality. So that's why the hermit card is a very, very interesting card. Not the most fun card. It's in fact is one of the most boring card in a very stimulus-based world, in a very fast-paced world, where you're always having to give someone some sort of stimulus, some sort of like entertaining show or something of that nature. Today's world, we like to be very stimulated and very quickly. And the hermit is about retreating within, seeking life answers, and just going your own way. Even if it's just temporarily. That's why the hermit is a good card. Because for seekers out there, I know you guys know this card extremely well. When you're interacting with most normal people who are not interested in spirituality, or are not interested in the esoterics, who are not interested in all these other different types of things, it's very difficult. And this is when you have to spend time with yourself, learning these concepts, meditate and reading these books, away from people who are going to dissuade you from your spirituality, who are going to dissuade you from higher truths of wisdom. And this is when you must go within. So that was the Hermit card. I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you did, or if you enjoyed it in however way, feel free to drop me a comment down below with your comments, your suggestions, your opinions, your thoughts, anything at all. Visit me at my website, prosperityLifeHacks.com, where I share the answers to life. I'm an enlightened human being, Kundalini awakening. I do a lot of Kundalini stuff, you could say. Mind magic, occult knowledge, psychic stuff. I teach a lot about mysteries and answers about life. If this sounds interesting to you, visit me at my website, prosperityLifeHacks.com. Sign up to my newsletter, and I also have a free ebook for you on how to teach you how to make money passively using the skills that you already know. It's called Dominate the Online Business Game. Feel free to click the link down below. It's completely free. Just check it out. You'll learn how to make money online using the skills you already know. This has been Gerardo Morillo. Until next time, friends.